If you're not racist, you should listen to this. I'm just saying. If you're not racist, you should listen to this. What lives matter? All lives matter. Black lives matter. Blue lives matter. I'm going to hang my Confederate flag and I'm going to let it fly high. The biggest trick that the devil ever did for the world is to convince that the Lord never existed. Well, can you imagine trying to convince people that slavery is a thing of the past? We should not get caught up on what happened to black people in the past, because right now we should be focusing on the future. Sounds good. It sounds good. But my thought process is this. Can you imagine going to any one of your favorite restaurants and picking something off the menu that you love to eat? You love to embellish, you love to be, you love the taste of it, right? To keep it simple, let's say Burger King. Burger King has a Whopper, right? You go to Burger King and you say, you know what? I really want a Whopper. And they say, you know what? We don't have a Whopper. We don't want to talk about it. No. This topic is about a Whopper. Well, hold on. Yeah, we get the Whoppers out, but we have McChicken, we have a McRib, we have all of these other things. Let's talk about that. When you want to talk about the Whopper and the Whopper not being there, the Whopper not being presented in a manner in which you can reach something that's achievable for you, let me throw in the statistics on a McChicken, on a McRib. Let me throw in, hey, we got hot fries, we got Frosties. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about the Whopper. In case that went over your fucking head. When you start talking about racism, people love to add statistics from other things. I don't care about how many other races are dying. I don't care about other people's children. I don't care about what's happening in Egypt or in France. I don't care about none of that. I want to start the conversation talking about racism towards black people. I want to end the conversation about racism towards black people. You spinning the narrative, you telling me, well, it's more, statistically, it's more white people dying by the hands of police brutality, does nothing for me. Does not say, well, maybe I should be quiet. Maybe I shouldn't make such a fuss. I think that's the issue. The issue is that what we choose to accept as men and women, not just black and white, but what we choose to accept as humanity. It is interesting to me that when you have a group of people that says, you know what, these things plague our communities, whether it's police brutality, whether it's black on black crime, whether it's government, big government, these things plague our communities. How can we fix this? And it's so interesting that when you try to have the conversation, people want to spin the narrative. They want to add things to the conversation to keep you from talking about the root of the problem. How dare you say that what I feel is important is not important? How dare you say that what I feel is important is not the topic of the conversation? I started the conversation. I started the narrative, which is the reason for the protest, which is the reason for the outrage, which is the reason that people are now taking action. See, the issue is that a lot of people want to have a conversation, but it's different types of conversation. You have to be mindful which conversation you jump your ass into. You got to be mindful of that. Let's break this shit down. Now, you have the people that are willing to have the tough conversation, are willing to sit down and start with, hey, racial racism against black people, right? Willing to talk about all the narratives that encompass racism against black people, and never steer left or right from the subject. Stay on topic. Those type of people are people that's going to change the world. Those type of people you want to have around you because you can have a balanced conversation. But you have other people that are so tired of hearing anything about racism because they live in the now. They don't care about racism. They say, hey, I wasn't a slave. You wasn't a slave owner. However, our ancestors was involved in all that shit. But we don't have to worry about that shit. That's another conversation. There are other conversations where people are extremists. Now they're talking about all black people over there, all Latino people over there, all Native Americans over there, all Caucasian people over there. And that's the type of conversation that they want to promote. It's that and nothing else. So it's more of an extremist type situation. But then you have those people that now are having conversations of genocide. That level of extreme, where in order for us to be purified, in order for us to save this country, we have to get rid of some people. We have to lynch people. We have to do things in order to dismantle their reproduction. There are different types of conversation. Then you have the people that I love to have conversations with. Those are the people that they want to jump in the conversation, but they want to derail the conversation. If you start talking about black people and you start talking about how black people are oppressed, or you start talking about anything that relates to black people not achieving or having an equal stake. Now, I know what the comeback is, especially with your Candace Owens, your Brandon Tatums, your Hodge twins. The comeback is that you have the same access to information that I do. You have the same internet. You have the same military. You have the same schools. You have the same access. And my thought process would be, for those people that have taken advantage of that because some type of way they found access to that, great. And when I say found access, let me break that down even more. That means everyone don't know how to research. Everyone doesn't understand how important credit is. Everyone doesn't understand about investments. Everyone doesn't understand about being able to communicate positively. So you need someone to guide you. Now, I would say this, when you talk about public school systems, everyone would say that public school systems suck for the most part. That teachers don't get paid what they're supposed to. A lot of them don't care. And the ones that do care, it's far in between. So that's why people spend so much money sending kids to private schools. Well, my thought process is this. Why do you have to send your kids to a private school if the public school is good enough? Think about the people, these politicians. Are they sending their children to public schools? Where are they sending their children? A lot of people don't want to talk about handicaps. They don't want to talk about disadvantages. And the reason why they don't want to talk about it because it's difficult, because they've some type of way have taken advantage of the disadvantages. Case in point, black people that are well educated, black people that are well spoken, black people that now have found a level of success. They don't worry about project matters. They don't worry about hood matters. We're not like them. They do a great job of saying we're not like those niggas. We're not like them. They easily dismiss those problems that's going on there. There's a reason why all of those black people are in that area. Hell, if you go all the way back to redlining, when they said, hey, we over here, they over there. So as they produce in these suburbs, these people produce in the projects. They say that kids don't pick their parents. So while other people are prospering from generational wealth, others are not prospering from generational curses. Then when you make some money, let's say you are from the projects, or you grow up in the projects, or the bricks, or the sticks, or whatever you want to call it, an urban community. You grow up in those places, guess what happens? When you grow up and you escape those places, you know what people don't do? They don't go back. They don't go back to help. They might go back and give out a t-shirt, give out a turkey here and there on a holiday, but they don't go back. That is now your problem. You think about the Cardi B's, the Jay-Z's, the Beyonce. You think about all these people that are now grown and blossomed. You talk about these celebrities, the Nick Cannon, the LL Cool J's. These people are good at, let me throw a poem together. Let me fight racism in my small little bubble, but I'm not going to do it on the main stage. You see what happened with Nick Cannon. You know, I'm going to be pro-black at night, but during the day, hey, I'm going to be the greatest Uncle Tom. LL Cool J. Again, I'm going to come out, I'm going to bust a couple rhymes for y'all. My thing about it is, should we expect more from celebrities? It seems like people only want to talk about racism when it's beneficial to them personally. Well, if I do this, I can sell more records. If I do this, I can sell my movie. If I do this, I'll get reelected. If I do this, we can bring them back to the NFL. Racism is not a thing of the past. Racism is heavily practiced. Okay? Heavily practiced. However, the situation now is it's systematic. First time offender? Okay. We're going to give you 2 or 3 years. You're going to go into jail or whatever case to be. Of course, now you're going to have to defend yourself. Of course, now you're going to be in there with somebody who got 5 or 10 years. Hell, you might even be in there with a lifer that really doesn't care. So you defending yourself. Now, oh, you're fighting? Okay, we're going to add on 6 months. Then another 6 months. Then a year. You get depressed because your public defender can't be reached. Now, a lot of people would say, you know, why is it that people have family members? You have 5 or 6 family members, and when you scrape them together, you guys cannot come up with enough money to get a retainer. Well, who taught them about credit? Who's giving them a loan for that? There is a generational problem, and if you never have the conversation, you never provide solutions. When has the president of the United States ever sat down and talked to these extremists? Like, get them all in a room. I'm talking about neo-Nazis. I'm talking about white nationalists. I'm talking about Muslims. I'm talking about pro-blacks. Get them all in a room together and say, let's have a conversation. You know things are bad when you ask Donald Trump, will you denounce racism? Do you denounce white supremacy? You know things are bad when you have to do that. Because my first question is, why would you ever have a man or a woman as president of the United States of America and you would think that that president was racist? There are signs that that president is racist. You know what's so crazy when they said make America great again? My first response was, for who? Right now, if we're talking about right now, black people are flourishing. Black people have found a way through sports, through politics, through movies. They found a way through investments. You know, there are more millionaires now, black millionaires now. Some people say, because you have so many black millionaires, how can you say that racism is the bigger push? Well, everybody's not rich. Everybody's not successful. And I feel like if you work at something, then great, you should get what you work for. The thing about it is, but when you start, here's the thing, but so many people are going to reach a level of success like that, where they're able to say, I'm going to now take my riches, okay, and turn it into wealth. Now providing generational wealth for my next grandchildren, for their children. Not a lot of people do that. They get enough money to buy, you know what I'm saying, a couple houses, maybe a big house, you know, maybe a nice car, maybe even a lakefront property. The fact of the matter is, a lot of people don't talk about generational wealth because they don't know how to reach generational wealth. Anybody that think that this country was built just by the good efforts of white people alone, you're sadly mistaken. Anybody that think that what has happened with slavery has not filtered and trickled into today's time, you're crazy. Now, should we hold Dave and Mike and John of today, of 2021, responsible for slavery? No, they wasn't there. I wasn't there. I'm not going to hold you responsible. But we have to be willing to have the conversation. And the conversation is, how does that affect us today? What are the lessons that we learned from there for now? Some people say, well, reparations would be in order. Shit, I would think reparations would be in order. The question is that when you give black people this money that they've never had, what do they do with it? I've never had a big house. Let me get a big house. I've never had a fancy car. Let me get a fancy car. So you still start behind the power curve, because when you're not accustomed to something, you normally fuck it up. You normally stumble with it until you figure out what to do with it. The issue is that we're not having a conversation about racism from start to finish. We're throwing everything into the equation to derail the conversation. And some people may not even think that they're doing it or know that they're doing it. However, it's happening. And you never get down to what is the nucleus of the problem. The nucleus is, what do black people want in order to feel equal? In order to understand that equality for all is a must for America. Well, we gave you a black president. We gave you a black vice president. What more do you want? Well, that's the conversation we should be having. That's the conversation we should be having. A lot of people say, black people do a great job, or let's say people with low income do a great job at milking the system, or whatever the case may be. Do you realize how much money is raised for politicians to run for office? How much money is moved around to fund private things in a sector that supports, big business? So I don't think when people say, hey, I'm going to get my piece of the pie. I'm going to get my piece of the pie, Now, do I think that people should stay at home and be lazy and not do anything and work for anything? No, that's not what I'm saying. But you would have somebody to say that's what this video is about. This video is about having a conversation from start to finish without trying to fill it up with another narrative. I don't want to hear about statistics about what happening with white people, what happening with these people. I want to talk about why black people are affected. How this affects black people. What's the solution for black people? We can say, hey, black people killing black people. We can have that conversation. But when you force people into an area where you say that selling drugs in order to put food in your household, in order to keep clothes on your kids' back, in order to keep the electricity on, in order to keep you having certain type of medicines, etc., etc., etc. You're telling me that we're cleaning up the hoods? We're cleaning up all of the 9th Ward, the 5th Ward, the 3rd Ward. Think about every place in the United States that has a low income situation. Why are we not fixing that? Why are we not taking the time to go into those communities and say, hey, we here to help. Let's bring in our military. Let's teach you trades. Let's provide jobs. Let's build structures that's actually going to help people. Let me tell you something, man. Can you imagine if America decided we're not going to send our troops overseas for a whole year or for 2 years, and we're going to focus on making America great? Not again, but making America great. We're so big on saying let's build a wall to keep illegal aliens out. Well, besides the Native Americans, we're all illegal aliens. We all came over here, under a pretense of either one indentured servant or one as a slave or one as an explorer. But the fact of the matter is, this land did not belong to us. We're all visiting. We've all made this our home. The Native Americans didn't say, hey, y'all, come on. Y'all, it's all good. And if you look at history, you ask that question is, why wasn't that taught in schools growing up? This land was stolen. People were stolen from their land to come over here and start work. Hey, grow that cotton. Hey, what about that sugar cane? So their ancestors who are concerned about what has happened wants to have a conversation, and you're not willing to have it. You want to derail the conversation and say, okay, yeah, we understand that black people are dying by the police, but what about these numbers over here? Well, I don't give a fuck about those numbers over there. I I don't care about those numbers over there. I care about what's happening right here with people who look like me. Because no matter how far I get from an urban community, no matter how proper I am, no matter how many times I wear my seatbelt, no matter how prestigious I look, no matter how great my credit score is, no matter if I marry a white person or not, right? I'm going to still be a black man in that situation. When I walk in a courtroom, when I get pulled over by a police officer, when I get racially profiled, I'm going to still be a black man. Hey, what are you doing in this neighborhood? I live over here. Okay, where do you live at? In this community. Where in this community? Like, it's just certain questions that's unnecessary. But some people would say, well, won't you just cooperate? The issue with black people is they don't cooperate. So it leads them to them dying. Can you imagine your son or daughter asking the police, why are you asking me these questions where I'm going? It's none of your business where I'm going. This is a public street. I can go up and down this street at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if I choose to. The issue is that we have a lot of black people that are confusing the narrative for what black people want. See, once you get to a certain level of success, you start talking differently. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where you live at and what your community is populated with. If my community is populated with Proud Boys or populated with, you know what I'm saying, people of Caucasian descent, I'm going to tend to do more things that are Caucasian wise. Say I might hunt, you know, I might do a lot of fishing, you know, I might fly my rebel my flag, Confederate flag, you know, and it's interesting to me when you see certain things like that. You know what I'm saying? But again, some people would say, okay, those black people fit into that white Proud Boy society. And then there's another narrative where you have black people who say, you know, I am so now removed from the urban community that I don't even consider myself to be that type of black. It's that type of black. I don't even listen to rap music. I listen to classical music. I don't listen to R&B. I don't watch those ratchet TV shows. You know, I worry about this, and this, and this. I don't have any nicknames. My name is. So, the conversation with people that are black who fly Confederate flags, that are black that has never been a part of an urban community, it's different from someone who lives in an urban community who actually prides themselves on going to school, prides themselves on raising their children, prides themselves on not being a drug user or a drug seller, pride themselves on not promoting alcoholism or sexually explicit content. There are people inside these communities that want to leave. And somebody would say, well, won't they just leave? They have all the opportunities in the world. But here's the thing. If you don't know any better, how do you do any better? Who goes back to teach them? Because who's going to reach back to them? You? Are you going to reach back to them? This is where you get a smart ass. Well, won't you go? Here's the thing. I alone can only affect the communities that I know about. However, there are people that are so concerned about saying, I'm not that type of black. I'm not those niggas. I'm not those niggas. Does that mean that these people are not relevant? Does that mean that these people should not be given respect? We've grown accustomed to, if you die in America, the first thing we're going to do is do a background check on you, as if to say that, okay, well, if you don't live up to the standards I think you should be living, if you don't have a credit score that's above 600, you're a dirtbag. If you've done any jail time, you're a dirtbag. If you don't have, I support the police and all lives matter on your social media page, you're a dirtbag. We're not going to celebrate you. We're not going to do anything to mourn your death. And we're going to find a way. If you get accidentally killed or accidentally shot, or you have an accidental accident, we're going to find a way to make you the culprit. Make America great again. I think that it would have been an honest question to ask Donald Trump, what year are you talking about? What time frame are you talking about? Because see, here's the thing. I noticed that there are certain people who totally get it. When you say make America great again, yes, whoa, yes, make America great again. And they all not white. Some of them are black. Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, make America great again. The MAG hat, right? But why are they not giving us a time frame to look at? Every time we talk about history, we always talk about this era and this era and that era. But no one in that whole make America great again conversation, nobody has ever said between 1940 and 1955 that we need to make America great again, y'all. The next time you hear a motherfucker say make America great again at what time? At what point was America so great that black people were very successful, Latino people were successful, white people were successful, Oriental people were successful, everybody was living in harmony? You could walk into it, you don't need affirmative action. You as a black man could walk in there with a white man and be equally qualified, and they say, oh, black man, you got the job. At what narrative on TV do we promote black superheroes? What year did we get that? Before Black Panther. Make America great again. For who? At what time? What state was it? Who was president? A lot of the people, it's like, I'm going to fit in with the Proud Boys. I'm going to fit in with white society. And that's great. If it works for you and you're happy and your family's safe, kudos to you. Great. My thought process is that if you don't want to fit in with the Proud Boys, if you don't want to fit into the narrative of white society and ignore all the black problems, you don't want to do none of that. And you have people checking the block saying, I'm a Republican, let's make America great again. Why is it so difficult to say when the fuck, at what era, at what time, where at, with who was America great again? You don't want to talk about slavery. That's too far back. Okay, cool. Not going 400 years. We're not doing all that, right? Okay, cool. All right. A lot of people want to focus on the here and now. Cool. But a lot of people talking about make America great again. So that means that is something that's already happened. So I'm saying, was the civil rights when America was great again? Was it the baby boomers? At what era between the baby boomers and civil rights was America great again? Oh, go back. The colonists, the settlers. Is that what we're talking about? Like around, Columbus, maybe a little bit after that? We're talking about discovering all of these new peninsulas? I'm just saying. We have to decide, and that has to be a consensus by the masses, when America was great again. Because we're under this impression that America was great for who? The black people that scream and make America great again, they promote a certain narrative. They have a certain level of understanding. They probably are not from the projects, right? They probably don't deal with police brutality on a regular basis. They don't talk about the issues that affect black people. A lot of excuses are being made when it comes to black people. Black people are like this, which is the reason why they have this. Black people, live here, which is the reason that they have this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But my thought process is this. If it is about making America great again, And where do we start? Where do we start? Or better yet, when do we start? This is to promote the tough conversation, to get those juices flowing, to get around people so you can quickly identify what type of people you're dealing with. Are we ignoring the problem or are we dealing with the problem? Because adults deal with the problem. You notice that there are no politicians that's coming right out, you know what I'm saying, and saying, you know what, yes, racism does exist in the fucking America. You know, and just because me as a white person or me as an educated person who's never lived in a urban community, I'm not going to stand here and say that I'm affected by it every day, which is why you have these people so shocked when something happens in their community or near their community or on social media. Oh my God, did you see what the police put him in a chokehold? The police put his knee on his neck. Oh my God. Where you been living at? What channels you been watching? What school you go to? Who are your motherfucking friends? The things that's so surprising because this has happened and everybody now can see. A lot of people say, man, you need to stop watching social media. You need to stop worrying about mass media because they're trying to promote a narrative. Well, here's my thought process. If I take my camera, my cell phone camera, and I record police brutality, I'm not media. I'm an individual person that's identifying an individual problem. But if I'm identifying over on the south side and somebody's identifying it on the north side and somebody's identifying over in the West End or over there in that urban community or that low income housing or that person, then that's a problem. These are problems that's being identified. And I can't help that white people are not outraged when someone in Wisconsin or someone in Minnesota is roughed up by the police or killed by the police. It's not all over the place. And somebody's saying, let's use this and amplify this. Let's use this George Floyd, amplify it. Let's use Sandra Bland, amplify it. Ahmaud Arbery, amplify it. Let's use these situations and amplify it. Well, you got to understand, they're not amplifying anything for me because I know those things exist. I've seen those things. Hell, I've been a victim of those things. So when you say, oh, the media is manipulating you, no, the media is reporting exactly what the fuck is going on. Do I think that all cops are bad? No. Do I think that all white people are bad? No. Do I think that all black people are fucking good? No. 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 But do I think there are some things that are placed systematically to keep black people at a disadvantage? You fucking well right. Whether it's laws, whether it's big government, whether it's housing projects, whether it's how we govern or police certain communities, you goddamn right. I can almost guarantee you that when you get called to a suburbs, you're not going in there to head bust. You're not going in there to throw nobody on the ground and just be like, hey, you know, let me treat you like you're not a citizen. But when you go into an urban community, you definitely going in there with a amount of aggression. You definitely going in there, you know what I'm saying, with the level of, hey, I can get away with this shit. Because here's the thing, you go into an urban community and you start doing a bunch of fuck shit, who's screaming, I'm about to get my lawyer? You'll be hearing from my lawyer. The likelihood of you running up into a suburban community and them not knowing the mayor or not knowing some type of councilman or not being a lawyer or somebody prominent themselves, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. Ladies and gentlemen, have the tough conversation. Find people that are willing to have the conversation from start to end. From start to end, that's when you really get somewhere. That's when you really know a person's understanding for empathy or sympathy. But they're willing to have the conversation. I'm not saying make a bunch of excuses. I'm saying have a real conversation. If the politicians are shying away from it, you can't talk about it in school. You don't talk about it in church. You Can't talk about it at work. Where do you talk about it? Where do you talk about it? Where do you get the solutions? Do I need to fly a Confederate flag in order for people to understand me? Do I need a Blue Lives Matter flag? Do I need an All Lives Matter flag? Do I need a Black Lives Matter flag? The question is not about what lives matter most. It's about why aren't we protecting all lives? Let's have a tough conversation. If you don't know what this is tough love. You don't know who this is, I'm Mario J. Until the next time, y'all adult up. Peace.